Good morning. Hayom Yom Menachem Av. So when the Frierdiker Rebbe was released from prison on Yud Beis Yud Gimel Tammuz 1927, so the first Shabbos afterwards, he said a Maamar on the words, Su'u Yidechem Kodesh Uvarchu Es Hashem Yivarecha Hashem Etzion Oisi Shemayim Ba'aretz, which is a pasuk from Tehillim, which literally means, it's addressing the Koyanim. And it's saying to the Koyanim that when you're in the Kodesh, when you're in the Beis HaMikdash, so lift up your hands, do Berachas Koyanim. And if you do Berachas Koyanim in the Beis HaMikdash, then Hashem in turn will bless you and life will be good. And that's what the pasuk means. But the Frierdiker Rebbe said a Maamar on it. And when the Frierdiker Rebbe finished the Maamar, he said that in 1798, when the Alter Rebbe was released from prison, so after he was released from prison in Petersburg and he came back home, so immediately upon coming back home, he said a very short Maamar on these words, and the Maamar was addressed to his son, the Untitled Rebbe. And the Frierdiker Rebbe said that in general, the Alter Rebbe represented serving Hashem with your heart, while the Untitled Rebbe characterized and represented serving Hashem with your mind. And the Alter Rebbe said, this is the meaning of the pasuk. The meaning of the pasuk is, Su'u Yidechem Kodesh. Lift up your hands to the Kodesh. He said, our hands represent our emotions, our emotional energy. The right hand represents chesed, the left hand represents gvura, and therefore the hands represent the totality of human emotion. And the pasuk is telling us that we have to lift up our hands, we have to lift up our emotions to Kodesh, and the word Kodesh means chachma, or more broadly it means our brains or our intellect. And what that means to lift up our emotions to our brains is that the emotions are one of the most powerful driving forces in a human being. It's a very, very powerful driving force. There's a lot of passion there, there's a lot of energy there. The problem with the emotions are, and the danger with the emotions are, is emotions on their own are a very, very unpredictable, childish, instinctive force. There's no rhyme and reason often to what we want emotionally, and our emotions are often very short-sighted. And Hasidus tells us, and Hasidus teaches us, that it's important that we learn to harness our emotional energy, that we learn to guide and lead our emotions by our brains, with the objectivity and the foresight of our brains. And instead of allowing our brains and our emotions to be disjointed from each other and two conflicting forces in our lives, a person has to learn to harness their emotional energy and allow the brain to be the leader, allow the brain to be the man in our life, and to guide and lead our emotions. And if a person learns to do that, you will be a very, very powerful and effective human being. And the pasuk continues that if you do that, if you manage to raise your hands to your brain, if you manage to make the brain and the foresight of your brain the leader and the guide in your life, and the leader and the guide to your emotions and to your emotional energy, then uvarchu es Hashem. You will, varchu can mean bless, but it can also mean draw. So uvarchu es Hashem means you will draw down and release Havaya energy, Hashem energy, into the world. You will release energy of Havaya Dileila into the world. Very, very powerful, potent energy, which personally will mean Yivarecha Hashem Etzion, and you will access in your own life, in your own day-to-day life, you will be able to access and tap into and access the part of your soul known as Havaya, which is the core of your soul, the core of your being. You will begin to live with and access a very powerful part of yourself, very powerful forces within yourself. Because within the human soul, so the core of our soul, the core of our being, is known as Jerusalem, or Tzion. It's like the inner temple within each of our souls. And you will begin to live and feel and access your inner Tzion, your inner temple, or the Havaya energy within your inner soul, when you begin to live in this way. And you will begin to live an incredible, powerful, effective, meaningful life. And he concludes, Oisi Shemayim Ba'aretz, that will not, when you live such a powerful, meaningful life, when you live such an effective life, when you're such a good human being, so that will not only benefit you personally, but Oisi Shemayim Ba'aretz, that will affect and change and transform the entire heaven and earth. All the world will be transformed and uplifted by your example, by your spirit. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.